Hello and welcome to my mash tutorial. In this video I will be showing you how I cook mash. I hope you enjoy. Edley asked what potatoes I use. Here they are. British white potatoes. Great all-rounder. There's the flag to seal the deal. Best mash is made with patriotic potatoes. Whoa. Little known fact about British potatoes is that they peel themselves. All you have to do is sing the national anthem and their skin comes straight off. You still have to cut them like this. They don't do that themselves, so I use this to do that. I put them in cold water. What I'm planning to do is to heat the water up from cold because then they cook more evenly. Yes. So while our protagonists are warming up, I'll just show you what I'm intending to put in the mash. So this might look like an obscene amount of cheese to put in the mash, but when you put it in, you won't be able to tell how much cheese there is in it because it'll be in the mash rather than outside of the mash. Also, I have some milk here that I'm going to warm up in the microwave, which is a little hack to warm liquids up. And then controversially, I'm going to put some extra virgin olive oil in. Now, you might be thinking, why put olive oil in when you could also put butter in? And this is British butter, creamy and delicious, which would match the potatoes, of course. Well, the reason is that I just think that olive oil tastes really good. And I'm not ashamed to say that. Another good reason to use olive oil as well is that the cheese that I'm using is also British, and having too many British ingredients is bad for the digestive system. I think especially for me because the food knows that I was born in Ireland, which, depending on who you ask, is not British. So the mash has been on now probably for about 10 minutes. This timer is not in relation to the mash at all, but hopefully shows you what the passage of time looks like. Speaking of which, with mash, the best way to see whether or not it's ready to be mashed is by putting a thing into the potatoes and seeing how firm they are. Usually I use like the knife that I cut them with, which is a better indication really, because potatoes will choose to be ready when they want to be ready rather than when you want them to be ready. So it's worth bearing that in mind when you're making mash, that time is somewhat irrelevant. So this is nothing to do with the mash, this is just a B-roll portion of the video. So this is just some B-roll of me, because I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking, and that's part of the experience of making mash. So now it's time to test the potatoes to see what the resistance is like. So I'm just gonna use this. Don't mind the cheese on the blade. I didn't use a grater for the cheese because that is a waste of a cheese grater. Now, okay, I'll poke one more. It's good to go into the center because that will be the bit of the potato that takes the longest to cook. Yes, that seems pretty done to me. So what I'm going to do now is drain the potatoes. I'll cut to some footage of that hopefully now. Okay, the potatoes have been drained. We're now at a critical stage of making mash. What you do now will determine how your mash will turn out more than anything else. So I'll just show you the tools with which I'll use to create the mash. So a lot of people will, on YouTube especially, say you need to use a ricer. I think this is incorrect technique and equipment, because the potatoes themselves need to have a sense of fear. It makes them taste better, it makes the mash texture better. So usually I use a classic potato masher. This one is nothing special, but when I wield it, I can intimidate the potatoes so that they break down and become mash. Here I have put some salt and pepper in the mash. Sorry, in the potatoes, because as I was saying just then, it is not yet mash. This is where I'm also going to put in the olive oil, because it's important to have some fat in the mash. And olive oil tastes quite nice and is very good for you. So now I will do the first mash. It's important to think about and make a wish when you do this, because the first mash is a very significant process. So I'm not going to say my wish, because that would mean it would not come true, but if you would all like to say a wish with me, that's okay, and I hope they will come true. I don't know why I didn't film the first mash. Maybe the wishes won't come true now, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is what the process looks like. And yes, just want to sort of mash it, so to speak. As you can see, the mash is mashed, but the consistency of it seems like it's not going to accept the cheese very well. So this is why we go over to the milk, which I've just warmed up. You can see the steam coming off of it there. So I'm just gonna put it all in. It's not too much milk. I eyeballed it. When you make mash a lot, you get this sort of sixth sense where you don't need to measure anything. So yeah, so this might look a bit kind of wet, but this is what we want, because it will firm up when I put the cheese in. Okay, so as you can see, the cheese is in the mash. I will show you again what it looks like when it's in the mash. So here it is, here's the finished consistency. And you might think that this is quite loose mash, but it's actually quite viscous, even though it's not got the potato-y structure that normal mash would have. And that's primarily because it is an extreme version of mash, cheesy mash. So that is to be expected. It's actually a positive thing. It enhances the whole experience. So here we go. This concludes the the mash tutorial. So here it is in context. I think it's important to show mash in context. It's very pomme puree-esque, as they would say in the Michelin world. And it's good to pair with the other major food groups. So of course, carbohydrates, um, vegetables, and sausage. Yeah, well, I hope you've enjoyed this video on making mash, and I hope that your mash turns out good as well. Cheers.